Thank you all very much. I'm going to take a number of questions from the media now. We're going to keep them relatively short and free because the staff are getting very hot. So in their interests, we'll take questions. And I'm going to start with the BBC and Hugh Pym.
Thank you, Prime Minister. When will you be able to assure patients that they will be able to see a GP more easily, they'll get the mental health support they need, and they won't have to wait long hours in A&E? And another briefly, with the Chancellor, I'd like to comment on her experience in the Commons over the last 24 hours.
On the question of when you'll see the change, it's a 10-year plan, but we're already starting on the change. And Hugh, if you haven't had the opportunity, I would recommend walking around here, because a lot of what I've been describing in terms of neighbourhood centres, you will see here. Not all of it, of course, but you will see the teams doing the dentistry, people walking in. And that is both incredible to have that in your community, but it ties in with my experience in Alderhay. I think you may have been there when I was there, when one of the shocking statistics, and it really did shock me, was to learn that between the ages of 8 to 12, more children come to Alderhay to have their teeth taken out because of decay than anything else. And so some of that is being dealt with the preventative measures here. So some of it is starting already. The technology is moving on. Some of it will take a bit longer because the neighbourhood centres have to be put together and the services all brought to one place. It is a 10-year plan, but we're beginning on it already. And what I have, and my intention and determination is that as we look back proudly at the Labour government that created the NHS, and we do, and celebrate it, and that's a good thing, I want in 10, 20, 30 years people to look back and say, this was the government that seized the moment and reformed the NHS so that it's fit for the future and is still celebrated year after year after year. In relation to the Chancellor, I'm not going to stand here and speak for the Chancellor, but as she's made clear on a number of occasions, yesterday was a personal issue, and I'm certainly not going to say anything more about that. I think it's just fantastic that she is here, and as I say, none of this would be happening if she hadn't taken the decisions that she's taken. So she took those decisions, and she'll be taking them for many years to come. Thank you, Hugh. Beth at Sky.
Thank you, Prime Minister. Beth Rigby, Sky News. PM, your first year anniversary has been marked by a self-inflicted shambles over welfare that's left you and your Chancellor wounded. You've U-turned on your reforms, your MPs don't trust you, and markets worry that you've lost resolve on fiscal discipline. It's the epitome, isn't it, of sticking plaster politics and chaos that you promised voters you would end. You say it's your responsibility, so can you explain to our viewers how you got this so wrong and what you intend to do to rebuild your trust and authority in your party? And if I may, I know it's long, sorry. Chancellor, first, it's really good to see you today. It's really good to see you here. But Prime Minister, I have to ask you, on a human level, people were shocked and baffled that in the Commons yesterday, you did not offer your Chancellor your support. Was it because you didn't see what was happening, or did you not know what to do? Thank you.
Well, Beth, let me just clear that up straight away. I didn't appreciate what was happening because, as you will probably appreciate, the PMQs is pretty wired. It goes from question to question, and I'm literally up, down, question, looking at who's asking me a question, thinking about my response and getting up and answering it. And so it wasn't just yesterday. No Prime Minister ever has had side conversations during PMQs. It does happen in other debates when there's a bit more time, but in PMQs, it is bang, bang, bang. That's what it was yesterday, and therefore I was probably the last to appreciate anything else going on in the chamber. That's just a straightforward human explanation. Common sense explanation, if you like. In relation to your invitation to tell your viewers what we've achieved in the first year of a Labour government, I'm very pleased to say we've brought down waiting lists. We promised 2 million extra appointments. We've delivered 4 million extra appointments. We've begun the project to build 1.5 million houses, particularly social and affordable houses. In schools, we have introduced breakfast clubs, really important for children so they're ready to learn when they get to school. We've rolled out free school meals to 500,000 more children, hugely important to them. We're just doing more on childcare. That comes on stream in September. So that is 9 months to 4 years free childcare across the country. We're ramping up and introducing the biggest upgrade in employment rights for a generation. We've got record investment into the country. Just last week, Amazon put in 40 billion investment into this country in jobs. That's one of the biggest single investments that has ever been made, and that brings the total for the year to £120 billion. These are companies, global companies and finances, who don't have to put that into the United Kingdom. They're choosing to put it into the United Kingdom because they've got confidence in what we're doing, confidence in the fiscal rules that the Chancellor has crafted so well. We've delivered a defence uplift to 2.5% and made it clear it will be felt in every community, in jobs. We've created hubs so that local businesses, small businesses benefit from that. We've delivered 3 trade deals, which government's tried for a long time. The US trade deal was talked about for I don't know how many Prime Ministers. Who came along and delivered it? This Prime Minister with this Labour government. The India deal, I think, was talked about for 8 years. Who came along and delivered it? This Labour government. And of course the EU-UK reset. And only a few weeks ago many people were saying to me, you can't have a US deal and an EU deal, Keir. You've got to choose one or the other. And we've got both. And it's measured, Beth, by the thing that matters most to me, which is improving the lives of working people. And that trade deal with America was hugely important to JLR and the car manufacturing sector. And equally, the SPS agreement with the EU will bring down prices in supermarkets across the country. I could go on, Beth, but it's a long list of achievements of this Labour government, and I'm really, really proud of them.
You had to collapse your welfare reforms because you were going to lose a vote in the House of Commons. Are you just in denial? You've totally ignored my question.
No, I'm not, and we didn't get the process there right, but I think it's right that if we're looking at the entire year, that we look at all the things we've delivered. And I always do this through the eyes of the working people up and down the country that we came into government to serve, that really matter to me. I actually gathered them in the back garden of Downing Street the other day. These are all the people I'd met along the way in the campaign trail, people working in the public sector, people doing campaigns, people who put in every day. I got them back, partly to show what we delivered on the commitments we made to them, partly to make sure that we always have them in our mind's eye. And they are very, very pleased that we've delivered waiting list down, that there's housing they're going to be able to afford, that their schools are looking better, their hospitals are looking better, record investment, and all those people whose jobs are going to be either secure under JLR or created under the other investments coming in. That is what matters to me, and it's really important that I stand up and be absolutely clear. I'm very clear. I'm very proud of the decisions we've made. They were tough decisions, they were the right decisions, but only because we took them that we got this platform that we can now build on. Thank you very much, Beth. I've got Rebecca from ITV. Rebecca.
Thank you, yeah. Rebecca Barry, health correspondent, ITV News. Prime Minister, given the current workforce crisis in the NHS, how will you ensure there are enough staff to provide these neighbourhood services? And on the Chancellor being here today, many members of the public will be concerned about her. How is she today, and is she here simply to calm the markets?
No, she's here because she's the Chancellor. The plan that we are delivering today is only deliverable because she took the decisions that needed to be taken and allocated the money for this plan. And so that is why she's here today, and I'm very glad that she is. In relation to the workforce, we have got obviously a workforce plan, and we're working with the workforce on it. The big difference between a year ago and now is that a year ago the government was blaming the workforce for their failures. So when the past Prime Minister was asked, why aren't you hitting waiting list targets, he said, it's not my fault, it's their fault. We came along and we said, we'll work with you. And we'll get you off the picket line onto the front line. We put together a plan for the year, which we launched in the beginning of this year. That was signed by the Secretary of State and signed by the NHS. And this plan we're launching today was not something the government dreamt up and sort of imposed top-down on the staff. It was, Wes Streeting went through this, it was consulted on widely, both with staff who participated and communities that they serve. And so they recognise in this plan what their patients, their communities have always said to them. And that's why I'm really pleased that we're working together on this plan. And that's why I know that it is achievable, deliverable, and it is heartening, and I said this to the staff, to see some of it already happening right here in Stratford. Thank you very much. I've got Gary from Channel 4.
Thank you, Prime Minister. The Chancellor's said in the past that when it comes to the budget, you won't be, during this government, coming back for anything like the tax hikes in the last budget. Can you actually, hand on heart, repeat that now? Because after this week, a lot of experts, a lot of people in the city think you probably can't and maybe shouldn't.
Well, Gary, first of all, let me say what every Prime Minister or Chancellor says any time they're asked about a future budget, because it's always the same. This isn't a Labour answer or a Conservative answer, but no Prime Minister or Chancellor is going to write a budget in advance. But we did really tough stuff in that budget of last year. We made sure that we stabilised the economy, and we took the big and heavy decisions early on. And that's what we meant by what we said when the Chancellor said that before. It's what I mean and say again today. We've done a lot of the heavy lifting. We've done a lot of the hard yards. As a result of that, we're turning our economy around. The fastest growth in the G7 in the first quarter of this year, business confidence at a 9-year high, and record investment. In the end, that's what drives growth, and that's what we were saying a year ago at the other side of the election, and I say it again here today. Thank you, Gary.
Doing yesterday, because it looked rather serious for a while.
Well, Gary,
a lot of people were worried. What they were saying was they weren't sure a Labour government, maybe without Rachel Reeves in it, would balance the books.
Well, Gary, again, I think, as you know, it's unwise, and politicians don't comment on markets, and I'm not going to do so. Thank you. Andy from Channel 5.
Thank you very much, Prime Minister. Andy Bell, 5 News. Can I also say, good to see the Chancellor here after yesterday, and would invite her again, if she would like to say a few words about what happened yesterday and her reflections on that. I'll leave you to think about that for a moment. But Prime Minister, what people did see yesterday, whatever the cause in the Commons, was a Prime Minister, a Chancellor clearly under enormous pressure. Do you worry that this is becoming too much pressure for your Chancellor?
No, I have every faith in my Chancellor. She has made incredibly important decisions in the last 12 months, and we wouldn't be doing what we're doing today without those important decisions. We work in lockstep and will continue to do so for a very long time. And that is a good thing for the government. It's a good thing for the country. Thank you. Chris at GBN. GB.
Thank you, Prime Minister. Your benefits climb down this week was humiliating, but for many it's depressing because only a Labour government can properly reform the benefits system. Outside of the Timms review, is benefits reform off the table? And how will you meet this £6 billion black hole this autumn, tax rises or borrowing? And just finally, a duty of care to your team. Will you have a word with Lindsay Hoyle about what you said to the Chancellor in future, or anybody else?
I won't comment on the second issue, Chris, as you'd expect. But look, no, we are pressing on with reform. It is important that we reform the system. Welfare isn't working. The 2 examples that stick with me most are the 1 million young people who are neither earning or learning. That is not good. That is not progressive. No government should be satisfied with that, and I'm not. And we got 3 million people out of work through ill health. Again, I'm not satisfied with that. And I know from having seen it for myself, how hard it is for some people to get back into work. I've seen and talked to people who have been through ill health and want to get back into the workforce. There's slight trepidation of doing so, fearing even trying, and that's why what we're putting in place, the right to try, for example, it may seem like a small thing. It is a huge thing for people who want to get back into work. The bill that we delivered on Monday obviously rebalances universal credit. That's been long overdue. And ensures that those with the severest disabilities don't go through unnecessary reassessments. That's been called for a very, very long time, and it's the right thing to do. And of course, Stephen Timms will now conduct this review. And I don't think you'll find anyone in Parliament who doesn't think that Stephen Timms is a thoroughly decent man of huge integrity that we can have faith in to do the review and make the changes that are necessary. Thank you very much, Chris. I've got Natasha from LBC.
Good morning, Prime Minister. Natasha Clark, LBC. You've made it to your first anniversary in Downing Street, nearly. You've said it's been a tough one, but the NHS, you say today, is looking better already. If you could go back in time to a year ago and give yourself any advice, what might you say? And if I may, Macron is addressing Parliament on his state visit next week. Do you think that Donald Trump should get the same privilege? Thank you.
President Macron is obviously coming next week for a state visit. That's a good thing. And as you will have noticed, the relationship between the UK and France is in a very strong place under this government. My personal relationship is very strong. Equally with President Trump, again, the relationship between our country and the UK and the US matters hugely. It's as close as ever, and I've got a good relationship with President Trump as well. In relation to the details of his visit, I mean, they're normally set out nearer the time, so I'll come back to you on that, if I may. In relation to the first point was, sorry.
What would you say to yourself if you could go back in time?
Oh, many things. Focus on what matters most. And that's why when I say what matters is who you have in your mind's eye, I really mean it. Because it's very easy to think that this particular issue is of paramount importance or that particular issue, and they often are important in their own right. But I came into politics relatively late in life. I'd done other things beforehand, and I came in for one simple reason, that I wanted to change the lives of working people for the better. And I don't believe in anything else. That's why I don't believe in performative politics. I don't think rhetorical speeches without the action to back them up are worth doing or making. It's the change that you bring about. It's why I absolutely wanted to change the party so we could win an election. It's why I wanted to win that election and why I want to change the country. And so my advice is the same advice I've always given myself. Be really clear what you're trying to achieve. Keep that focus. Don't ever be knocked off course. But most importantly, remember the people whose lives are going to be changed by what you're doing. And for me, it was really that reception, what we did the other day, getting the men and women from across the country into Downing Street, not what you might call the superstars, but in many ways the superstars, which is the men and women who are putting their lot into this country, whether it's in public service or in many, many other ways, coming in and reminding me and being with me, this is who we're doing it for. And that's